Welcome to Maritime Matters, a podcast focused on leaders in the maritime market, the people, the companies, the technologies that are making and breaking the news, helping to lead the maritime industry to a safer, more efficient, more profitable, and cleaner future. Welcome aboard. This is Greg Troutwine with Maritime Matters, the Marinelink Podcast, and we're very pleased to be joined today by Daniel Bischofberger, the CEO of Accelleron, and Giuseppe Gargiulo, the head of Newbuildings for MSC, to discuss decarbonization tips and techniques, as decarbonization is the driver for many new and emerging technologies in maritime today. Rest assured, we're not here to discuss decarbonization in a vacuum. Rather, to discuss how increasingly strict emission reduction mandates can be met while not sacrificing commercial or operational performance, as MSC has already proven by deploying Accelleron technology on its vessels. To start us off, can you give us a short introduction of yourself, your experience and responsibilities, and a by-the-numbers look at your organization, something that gives our audience a size and scope and shape using the metrics of your choice?
I'm Giuseppe Gargiulo, head of Newbuildings at MSC. We are a leading and largest container carrier in the world. I'm leading the fleet renewal of MSC and looking to the decarbonization program. So working with the shipyard and stakeholder into the industry to make sure we could get the next generation and the most advanced technology on board of our vessels. So MSC it's a very big company in terms of the number of employees. It's cover almost 200,000 employees across the MSC businesses. We cover 520 ports and 155 countries. We have in our fleet at the moment 900 vessels. That's a huge network, and we carry annually more than, let's say, 30,000 million TEUs. And we have still in the pipeline more than 120 new buildings to come.
I knew MSC is large, but I did not know that it's so large. Impressive figures, Giuseppe. So I'm Daniel Bischofberger. I'm the CEO of Accelleron. I'm an engineer by training and by job experience. A lot of background in power generation, power transmission, and oil and gas. And since 2022, I've been at the helm of Accelleron. And with the support of a fantastic Accelleron team, I had the honor and the pleasure to separate Accelleron after 98 years with ABB from ABB, and to list Accelleron on the Swiss SIX stock exchange. So now, as an independent publicly listed company, we are building on a century of turbocharging innovation and also to develop technology that will accelerate decarbonization in marine and energy industry. So just give me the chance to, let's take a look back in time. The whole company, but also the whole technology of turbocharging started in 1905. There was a Swiss engineer, who else than a Swiss? Alfred Büchi. He filed a patent for the turbocharger. So the turbocharger was invented in Switzerland. And it took about 19 years until, under his leadership and BBC Turbocharging, which is a predecessor of Accelleron, produced the first commercial turbocharger. And hey, by the way, if you want to come to Switzerland, you will still see the first turbocharger. It's on display at our headquarters in Baden, and it has a nickname, Victor. And because the first turbocharger was produced in 1924, so no surprise, 100 years later, last year we celebrated 100th anniversary. When it comes to the figure, not as impressive as the one from Giuseppe. We are just crossed the 1 billion revenue mark, also in 24. We have 3,000 employees. We have 100 service stations worldwide, because service is an important piece of our business. We are in 50 countries. So, we can't claim to have 200,000 employees like MSC, but we can claim to have almost close to 200,000 turbochargers in operation worldwide. And our core focus today is turbocharging, fuel injection, and digital optimization. So all complementary technology and all about efficiency and all about the energy transition. May I allow, a bit an anecdote about our name? We are now Accelleron. And still some customers still call us ABB. But I normally make the joke, but as long as they don't call us BBC anymore. But we still have some customer who still believe we are BBC. So that's why we, Accelleron, the abbreviation is ACC. So it's just a move from BBC to ABB and ACC.
No, that's fabulous. And again, I appreciate that. So, gentlemen, the point of this conversation is decarbonization in the maritime sector. But as both of you know, decarbonization in and of itself is a slice of the topic. There are so many different factors that work simultaneously, automatically to help ensure that ships operate with less harmful emissions, while also being mindful of fuel and operational efficiency. So, with that though, can you put in perspective, and again, whoever would like to jump in first, but can you put in perspective the breadth and depth of the decarbonization plays in planning forward for both of your organizations?
Yeah, let's say that on the holistic view, let's say new building and retrofit are exactly aligned and linked together, because actually what you do is to try to make the both vessels, either new builds and either let's say the one you are going to retrofit, on the same level. That's one of the biggest challenge we have. And then we consider the retrofits as a strategic change, and this is as important as the new builds, because as I said to you just now, we are trying to level the two vessel, or to bring the vessel to the same level of the new build. So that's something very important to make sure we could get the best out of our current asset we have at the sea. Of course, we have to talk about the proven results and how we are going to make this, let's say, reduction of CO2. And we have a peak of 40% CO2 reduction. This is on what we did, talking about our own experience on the day-to-day. And we did it by, let's say, mechanical changes, by reshaping the bulbs, changing the new propellers, new profile, new vessel operation, let's say new operational profile given to the vessels based on the current market needs, and driving through these environmental milestones we have had. Of course, let's say the operational profile is one of the most difficult point you may consider on a vessel, because what you decide today, it has to be valid in the next 3 years. So when you talk about a commercial trade profile that you decide today, in 3 years it will not be valid anymore. So you need to give this profile also a kind of flexibility, and this is the hardest point for the optimization, because more flexibility you may have on the operational profile, less accurate is the efficiency gain. So that's where the real experience matter on this kind of let's say retrofit in general. Of course, we have to consider that the vessel, and it's not only a spot point, but we have to consider the vessel as a whole entire picture. So going from the propulsion system, the painting system, the wind resistance, the side protection, on the on the air resistance, shaft generators, inverter, frequency converters on the pump. So all these to make sure we could achieve the less impact on the environment, emitting less, consuming less. Of course, in this path, for us, the digitalization is the key. Why this? Because having data available in real time give you the possibility to, first of all, automate some activities. Monitor the KPI you have in your organization at the moment, and correct immediately something is not going in the proper direction. So that's something we heavily invested on, and we believe that sharing this operational data, thanks to the digitalization, will help all the stakeholders in the industry to make a huge steps ahead. One of the biggest challenge for us is the fuel. What kind of fuel we will have? This was the biggest question, giving a lot of headaches to the industry, and being one of the most, let's say, aggressive topic we have had in the last, let's say, 5 years for sure. We, as MSC, we have always believed in what we can see available in the next 10 years and 20 years. So this means that we believe in what is available and what could be available immediately, because we want to give to the industry immediate effect to our, let's say, to the footprint of our vessels. So basically, LNG today is the most available fuel and the only one able to give a real reduction from day one the vessel come out from the shipyard. Of course, we are ready for anything else is coming, either ammonia, methanol, and we are doing this, making our vessels capable of taking these storage tanks ready to go. That's one of the most important item where we are heavily investing. So of course we have mid-step investments. LNG is the first. We call it mid-step investment because we know that this has a time frame that it will last. But for sure, it's the one who is starting from today we can use. And so having a vessel out from the shipyard. Yesterday we had one, and in 4 days we have another one. We are taking 5 to 8 vessels a month, and we know that once we are out, we can bunker LNG and we can use LNG. Then the next mid-step is the bio-LNG, green LNG. So these are the let's say the cleanest widely available fuel today, and once integrated in the supply chain, it will bring down the CO2 emission of our vessels, and we are ready to take whatever from the market because we are absolutely oriented to cut the CO2 emission of our vessels. Of course, in the meantime, we take pragmatic steps on top of, let's say, this big view on the fuels. As we said before, we do whatever to take any proactive step to reduce as much as possible our impact, our fuel consumption, our CO2, the CO2 footprint of the vessel of each end of each container. So this is something we have as a mission. Let's say that in general today we may say that MSC will have over 150 vessels dual fuel. Then all our LNG ready to use the ammonia at any time the market will allow, or methanol if it's the case it will be. And yes, we have the last vessel delivered was MSC Adele yesterday. MSC Nerano yesterday is 16,000 from Hanwha in Korea, and Adele the last week from China.
You know, as I was discussing before I came on here, I've been doing this since 1992. A 4,000 TEU container ship was a big container ship. Trust when I say we were not talking about decarbonization. Might have been talking about fuel efficiency, but decarbonization was not on the lips of anyone. So your insights, that's what drives what we do. That's what drives what Daniel and the shipyards and everyone's doing. So Daniel, from your side, I guess, can you just discuss holistically decarbonization and just kind of put in perspective how that's driving Accelleron's business today?
Yes, of course, Greg. I mean, first of all, I would like just to quickly come back to Giuseppe. You know, what I like with MSC, they really have very pragmatic approach. That doesn't mean they don't want to shoot to the moon, but they realized, to finish a marathon, you start with the first step. And that's what we see, and that's why we highly appreciate the partnership. But now let's come back a bit to talk about Accelleron. Now, I spoke already about 100 years looking backwards, but now let's move where we are today. And as said already in 2022, we were separated from ABB, and in the meantime we completed 3 acquisitions. And it's all about decarbonization and energy transition. So we entered the fuel injection business, which we didn't have before, by acquiring 2 companies in Italy. And it's a great time to be in fuel injection because of the dual fuel trend. The demand is high and the demand is exceeding capacity, and that's why we're investing 80 million to expand our capacity to double the capacity. But I already know today it's not enough. We need to move ahead. We want to support the decarbonization. And we don't want to be the bottleneck in the end that Giuseppe can't order more advanced new ships because there's not enough fuel injection. But also the other thing on the digitalization, we acquired a company in Canada, True North Marine, and it's enhancing our digital vessel performance solution with voyage optimization, but also including consultancy. Here, let's give me a word. There's a lot of software as a service out there. And it's not everybody's MSC with 200,000 people and other companies. Some need more support. The data alone don't speak for themselves. So what we truly believe with our consultancy, these are seafarers and captains and so on. They're in contact with the customer, help them also to draw the conclusion and define the right actions based on the data. And so for decarbonization is our DNA, it's also our purpose. And this has provided also a clear technical path for us. Everything targeting efficiency and new fuels, but also in an affordable way, because that's pragmatic. We can't go for the huge amount investments if you don't know everything is clear today. So the challenge is the speed of adoption, and we have to start now. So what I'm always saying, we have to go viral with the efficiency. And efficiency will here to stay. Today, efficiency is needed to reduce CO2. But, also in a world of carbon neutral fuels, efficiency has become, I would say, even more important, not about reducing the CO2, but these fuels are expensive to produce, that we are careful with our resources and that we can reduce even the fuels more in the future. So another thing which also struck me was the average age of the global fleet is 13 years. And less than 40% of these biggest ships have energy saving technology retrofits. And just coming back, we have to apply them. But not only, again, energy saving technology, but they also have to be fast, easy and affordable. And like the one we will talk today, the FITS 2, but also the engine part load optimization, EPLO. They deliver proven fuel and emission savings. And the good thing with all these energy saving technologies, they also improve the CII rating. They reduce the EU ETS exposure and also support the fuel EU maritime compliant. So I would say double whammy. So double cost savings, saving for fuel costs and avoiding of penalties.
Okay. Dana, no, that you brought up obviously, so many interesting points. And I mean, we've said it time and again, there is no silver bullet solution to this very complex problem. So again, looking at the various ways that you can save the fuel, save the emissions, and then obviously record that as well is important. So, we started with the macro, and I'd like to kind of dig into the micro a little bit because, obviously Accelleron has multiple technologies to help ship owners meet their decarbonization
And
goals.
I can confirm
Uh,
this, and I can say to you, Greg,
Please.
actually, I started with this company 22 years ago,
Mhm.
and one of the first tasks I had with ABB at that time, it was a system called ABB Sealmate that was able to balance, to read the pressure of each cylinder individually and put it online and try to help let's say, the chief engineer to make an optimization of the engine and to make also a kind of roadmap on how you can see the, the, let's say, the consumption and the troubleshooting. So this is to say that we are discussing today, and seems, as you said, on the macro side, seems just some little spots, but there is a lot to say also on what we are doing today. We have the largest turbochargers ever built on our vessels, and then we scale down due to the, let's say, scale effect of the vessel and the sizing of the engine. And we have been always together, Accelleron, ABB and Accelleron, to try to find the best layout, the best solution, the best idea on how we could optimize the vessel consumption and the engine consumption on that specific part. So like this, but I wanted to point out that the cooperation and what we do on every day with these guys, it's really focusing on finding solutions to improve the consumption, the emissions, and all comes along with this. And this is not starting today, but this is a path we are working together since so long.
And you just gave me a perfect segue to the next one because, I just wanted to dig a little deeper with Daniel on the Acceleron technology. Obviously, it's a centuries long experience with technology to help maritime run more efficiently. So, Daniel, again, the context of this conversation, it starts in the macro with decarbonization, but we're here obviously to talk about MSC and specifically the scalable technology.
I think it's important to know for everybody here on the podcast normally, we try to develop technology together with our customer because first of all, it gives us direct feedback what they really want and also make sure we get the right solution. And that's something we always do, be it on the digital side, but also now on FITS2. And FITS2 was also a product of partnership. And let me tell you a little bit how it started. Just a few months in my job, I had the pleasure meeting first time with Giuseppe in Sorrento in summer 2022. And he complained about an existing system on one of the MSC ships. And as far as I can remember, it was a kind of manual cutout system. But, instead of me talking, hey, Giuseppe, I think you have more insight about the old system and probably you can better explain than I.
Yeah. Yes, actually, we have this, we used to have this kind of manual system to cut out one turbocharger in order to optimize on the low load operation, to optimize the flow, the exhaust gas flow on the, let's say, two turbochargers in general instead of three. And this is a kind of flap that has to be manually operated by the crew, and it's a system that requires you to stop the vessel, pre-plan this operation, then it requires a lot of maintenance and a lot of frequent operation in order to avoid that the flap would stack. So initially, in the first months of operation, everything was okay. Then we realized that the human factor on this flap was the biggest point and the biggest problem in a way, and we were missing some saving because every day there was an issue, every day there was another point, or we don't want to put blame on anyone, but we want you to address on the fact that this was too much human driven, and this was not giving the results we expected. And then, talking about this, let's say in a more technical way with Daniel here, we have been challenging each other on how we could manage this issue and make it unmanned. Okay? And then I believe the rest of the part you can describe.
Oh, thank you. What then I said, why is that all manual? Why is it not automated? And there was a lot of explanation, and not from Giuseppe, but also from other people. Say, those flaps are not existing. It's difficult. And here definitely my power generation background helped me. So one thing I learned very fast, sometimes shipping is a bit cheap and dirty. And I said, come on guys, I mean, in power generation, those flaps exist. We have similar issues where we have to open and close, and where sometimes things are not running for a long time, and so on and so on. And so that's the way it all developed. And it was really cool to have the discussion with Giuseppe, and we took on the challenge. You were asking what is FITS2 all about? And first of all, let me explain. FITS2 is an abbreviation. I guess everybody realized that one. So the full name, it's called Flexible Integrated Turbocharger System for Two-Stroke Engines. And I tell you, I promise, that's the only complicated thing for that product. All the rest, it's about easy operation. It's all automatically done, so the crew doesn't have to do anything, just to run the ship. And it's also about easy installation. So quick turnaround at any port during normal port stay. And the reason is also the easier the installation operation, the faster we can get the existing fleet for saving fuel, cutting emissions, and also contributing to the IMO 2030 target. So, and this is important because there are about 50,000 large ships in the global fleet that could and should be retrofitted with energy-saving technology. I'm not saying it's only FITS2. Anything that's available, as said, can help us to reach the target. And there's around 2,000 of those ships that are candidates for FITS2. So very simple, mass criteria, it needs to be a vessel, it can't be a train, it should have a two-stroke propulsion engine and 2 or more Accelleron turbocharger. And the installation is really simple. And thanks to our global service network with more than 500 trained service engineers, we can install it at any port, and especially also during normal port stay. There was a clear feedback from Giuseppe. Don't make it a dry dock thing. We don't want to take the ship out for longer because that costs a lot of money. So we were looking, and so the FITS2 scope is really simple. Some piping, a bit compressed air, some pneumatic valves, a simple control unit, and some software adjustment to the engine controller, and last but not least, glass approval. That's it. And that's the way then we developed, and it obviously met all the requirements from MSC.
Giuseppe, I'm bombarded on a daily basis from technology providers that are promising that their technology XYZ will deliver emissions reduction, save fuel, et cetera, et cetera. I'm sure that as well as anyone that the performance doesn't always live up to the hype, shall we say. So from your experience with the FITS2 upgrade, can you just give us some details? The size and the number of ships where it's deployed, the process to install and get it up and running, and really most importantly, the tangible results to date.
Yeah, basically, I would like, in general, to explain you, let's say, the benefit we are having out of this system. And as I said before, the real crucial benefit is to have an automated system that can give us based on the engine condition, the activation or deactivation of the flap. This is, let's say, this is something very important because it means that the master on board can adjust the speed the way he like. This is also for safety reasons sometimes, because we know that problem with the pirates may occur. This is not news. This is not something new. Or, for example, problems with bad weather may occur. So, and you don't need to change anything, and you don't have any limitation. So you just use the vessel the way you need, and this make you, on top of all, save fuel. So, and that's kind of this is the most important thing, because this adds flexibility to the engine itself, to the operation of the vessel itself, in full keeping the safety of the system and the safety of the vessel. So that's let's say what I want to address to the audience, because sometimes we miss this very important point. Then, of course, the other point we were addressing before, the old valves were stacking. These valves instead, they have a kind of automatic gymnastic, if I can say, that they open and close, of course not in operation, to prevent the sticking and the blockage. So you have a continuous, the system monitor itself, and you don't need another external part to do it. So that's pro, as Daniel said, and as I asked up front, that this has to be a fully engineering product that can be kind of IKEA system that we can just do, and wherever the vessel it is, just go and install it without downtime, without taking vessels from the network, because whatever day you take out from the network of the vessel means that later on you have to speed up the vessel. It's a cost. It's a cost to the speeding up the vessel. You are polluting your results in terms of consumption. So,
the one thing, Greg, we have to see, the technology map of a ship is becoming more and more complicated. So I always said, as an outsider coming in, I had the mindset of a ship is cheap and dirty. Things are really changing. So they're becoming more, because there's new fuels, toxic fuels, different fuels, new energy saving technology, wind assisted propulsion, air lubrication, waste heat recovery, and so on and so on. And we already know that the crew skills are stretched. So for us, it's definitely important that a technology will only be accepted if it can be operated and maintained. And it has to be simply and automated. And so that's why we put a lot of focus on that one. And I can tell you, Giuseppe made clear that we got the message. And sometimes we were a little bit deviating, so he made sure we get back to the right path. So, the crew's first responsibility is about navigating safely and on time. So we should not distract them from that one. So technology, that's why, must be easy, but also cost effective. A great technology, but that's too expensive, will also not be applied. So that's a bit the challenge what we have. But we also learned that now for other things, because now we are also we are developing new products, for example on turbocharger, where we make sure the service and operation is already simplified and built in. When we take a look on our new Accelleron X300L, next generation turbocharger two-stroke engine, we all know the complicated things that you have to do, the overhaul during a dry dock, because you have to disassemble it, this huge animal, this elephant. But we realized, don't make it bigger and more efficient. Try to keep the efficiency on the same level, but make it smaller, that you can do the overhaul with a cartridge concept. So we could do now the new turbocharger during a normal port stay. And by that one, you get a nice side effect because you don't have to, you can use the product long until it really needs the maintenance, not because the dry dock is now coming and the next dry dock is too far away. And including remote monitoring, predictive and condition-based. So it's performance, but it's also ease of usage and ease of maintenance. So all this, as new technology and fuels go into operation, we have to design a solution that minimizes the burden on the crew.
We've talked about the technology, we've talked about its application. Now we come to the cost. And again, I know that's always a very topical conversation with any ship owner of any size, anywhere. But the new technology comes with new costs. So can you give guidance? And again, I'm not looking for an exact price tag. I know every shipbuilding and refit project is different, but can you give guidance on the cost of the system and specifically where those costs are recouped?
Basically, the technology was already proven, and we knew it since before, because let's say we are talking about a system that was already adopted on our vessel. So then we knew, let's say, that the system was going to work, and we knew that the return on investment, this is always based on the operational profile of the vessel, the type of vessel, the size of the vessel, and what are you going to retrofit, was going to be short, relatively short. So for us, let's say the calculation were relatively easier, and it was the key to decide, because we knew that the benefit was there, and we could take it, and we could take it 100%. So that's the real point where I want to take you, because before was subject to the human factor. Now you can make the calculation on the paper based on the speed and the trade you are doing, so you know what are you going to save. This is a math. It's not anymore a maybe, if they forget, if the flap is stuck, if we have a problem. Of course, this is a machine and we are engineers and we do the maintenance on everything. So you may have a problem, but basically you can count 95% on the accuracy of the system, and then you can make the return on investment that is not something like you said before. People come to you and they propose you whatever results that with any system. They say, okay, I'm saving this, I'm saving that, this is whatever, and we see these people every day. But on that you can make a very easy commercial judgment, because you can count on the exact amount of fuel you are going to save. So then on top of this, and I would say some people skip this part, on top of this you are not going to have a major disruption of the service, so you don't need to wait for dry dock. Then, and this means that you are not going to reduce, let's say, the trade, or you're not going to impact on the speed, because the ship stay is calculated and the intervention is based on the ship stay. So let's say that you have 2 or 3 ships intervention based on the time you have in port, because container business is like this, other business maybe are different, but I'm talking about, let's say, mainly on the container business. So then let's say that the service was adapting on the installation. So basically then it comes only benefit, because then you have immediate action on the fuel saving. You are gaining, let's say, on top of the fuel, as Daniel said, you are saving emissions that today are charged. So it's a real whole pictures.
Yeah, probably I just would like to add, Giuseppe is not only a great partner, but he's also a damn good negotiator. So here he made sure that we understood what is the price tag he can and is willing to pay, and we did it. So again, it's always good to make sure that you understand what the customer is willing to pay, and we made it, and also by simplification, which is then also helps on the cost, but also on the way you can use it. So, but just a few figures, at least how we see it. I mean, there might always be a bit different views, but we did the calculation there. We believe there's fuel savings of up to 4%, and this cuts around 1,000 tons of CO2. But again, depending on the vessels, per vessel per year, depending how they run the ship, how big is it, and we see a payback of 1.5 to 4 years. And as already said by Giuseppe, it adds additional commercial value by improving CII and EU ETS liability. So based on our experience with all what we offer, we see definitely with digital, which helps on the vessel performance, FITS 2 and EPLO upgrades are definitely the fastest and easiest and most affordable path to decarbonization, what we can offer to our customer.
Yeah, and I would like simply to add, Greg, last point, that for us FIT 2 is not only, let's say, sustainability investment, because otherwise we would lie to the audience, but in a way it saves also our product margin, because it adds up value to on long term to the vessel and to the performance. So
I think, again, some great points, gentlemen. And Daniel, I think you'll agree, if Giuseppe wasn't a damn good negotiator, he wouldn't be in his job. Very, very simply, there's more questions than answers as we look at decarbonization while running efficient ships. There's a lot of questions. You're making decisions, technology and shipbuilding decisions today that will go on for the next 30 years. When you're, from your experience, sharing with fellow ship owners watching, what is your best advice?
we believe that 2030 targets are possible. So, and we can even exceed them. So if we use the technologies available now and we can apply across the fleet, so basically it's challenging, but it can be done. So then what is important to tell everyone is that decarbonization is not a choice between green and profitable, but we have to work on both sides, and we have seen over the talk that they are linked each other. We cannot wait for just for the perfect fuel, and so we have to act today and do what is possible with what we have today. With the current supply chain you have, and I'm referring again to the LNG, and with the current solution you have, you can do much more than what is planned ahead of us. So that's the most important suggestion. Then, of course, what we can say, and this we have been always saying to everyone coming to us proposing something, we won't choose proven solution like something we have had, and we want to see the results in full scale on without waiting too much. And this is, for example, okay, one of these is FIT 2, other stuff we are windshield or whatever, the bulb retrofit, new propellers, we are to the second and third edition to the new propellers. So things that we know that make sense, work, and give immediate results. So and they have logical paybacks. So that's another point that we have seen over the conversation. And so our philosophy, at least in MSC and on the new building side, and also reflecting on the retrofit, it's the continuous improvement. We won't improve ourselves on daily basis. So what we look is what we have, and we look how we can improve based on the experience, the operational side, and the possibilities are available in the market. So no matter is the propulsion, is the hull, is the way we operate the ships, the way we use the meteor routing, take effective step today to cut the emissions and to improve the efficiencies of the whole package. This is all to protect the business. Otherwise, without business, we can talk for years, but if we don't sustain the business, we cannot sustain anything else. So that's and we sustain the customers, because with the pragmatic approach, small steps, without huge investment, we are not going to impact them, but we are making the business sustainable and easy accessible for everyone.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I 200% agree with you, Giuseppe. And also what you both said already, there's no silver bullet. Not a silver bullet that works today, tomorrow, and after tomorrow. We just have to accept that one. And so we need the first silver bullet that works today. And when we are lucky, if you're lucky, it also works tomorrow. But one thing what we should not do is wait. So we shouldn't wait, and because waiting doesn't make the things cheaper. The regulations are getting tougher, so the longer you wait or we wait, the higher the penalties. It's not the new ships that will deliver the 2030 emission cuts, it's the existing ship. And already as said by Giuseppe, don't let the perfect get in the way of the good. It's good enough. I mean, the studies have shown that we have already the technology in our hand, and more technology will come. Don't wait until you see the perfect, because there's no perfect, no silver bullet. And one thing, I'm a father of 3 kids, let's pay the bill now, please, and do not pass it on to our next generation. I think they deserve to take over a good world as we took over. And so it's let's go viral with efficiency. And there's a lot of low investment, high return retrofit, and it can be done, but we have to start now.
Okay, well, gentlemen, an interesting conversation for sure. I genuinely appreciate your time, and I look forward to talking to you again in the future.
My pleasure, and thank you, Greg and Daniel. Was a really nice time with you.
Yeah, and Greg, Giuseppe, big thank you to both of you. It was a pleasure, and looking forward. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Maritime Matters. If you would like to be featured on a future Maritime Matters podcast, visit www.marinelink.com or email maritimematters@marinelink.com.